Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who is on a two-day visit to Saudi Arabia, met with Saudi Arabia King Salman bin Abdulaziz. Prime Minister's main focus is to improve bilateral relations between the two nations, it seems. Now take a look at the meeting where Prime Minister Modi is seen shaking hands with the King of Saudi. The Prime Minister is also set to address a financial summit in Saudi Arabia. That's visual coming in of Prime Minister's meet with the Saudi Arabia King. He is, of course, meeting with all the ministers in charge in Saudi Arabia as well. The aim is to strengthen bilateral ties between the two countries. Also, the fact that Prime Minister Modi is all set to launch the RuPay card, the Indian Domestic Transaction Bank card in Saudi as well. This is another add-on in the efforts to strengthen ties between the two nations. My colleague Nikhil joining us on the line. Nikhil, do give us some details of the meet between Prime Minister Modi and Saudi King Salman. How did it pan out, really?
Well, this particular meeting is, of course, a cursory meeting. It's a courtesy meeting as well, because a whole lot of the delegation level talks happen with the bureaucrats and the ministerial level. But at the same time, it is important to ascertain that there is a certain level of discretionary change that is required in the Saudi-Indian relationship. Firstly, what's important is the oil sector. There is a tremendous amount of investment coming in the oil field industry between Saudi Arabia and India. Saudi Arabia, through their flagship oil company, Aramco, Arab American Oil Company, making a whole lot of investments in the refinery and petrochemical projects in the west coast of India. But having said that, that is an entire paradigm shift in the way India will be getting oil. India will start having to purchase oil in US dollar terms, and they'll have to start paying for delivery. So with these talks happening, will there be any sort of concession, any kind of subsidizing of this oil relationship between the two nations? That remains to be seen. A whole lot of PR work will have to be done by Narendra Modi in this instance. The other instance is, of course, the welfare of Saudi-based Indian citizens. As far as labor laws are concerned, as far as human resources are concerned, they need to be seen as being taken care of very well. Conditions of expatriates in Saudi Arabia has not been of a very good level. So there's some sort of a revision to the way Indian citizens in Saudi Arabia are treated from a labor point of view as well. So a whole lot of that dialogue will be hovering up over this as well, Nabila.
Right, Nikhil, thank you very much for joining us with those details. Here we're looking at visuals where the supremos of both the nations, Prime Minister Narendra Modi from India and Saudi Arabia King there in Riyadh, both of them meeting ahead of decisions to be made to strengthen bilateral ties between the two nations.